Hello, this is Adam with DreamMade Productions. This video is made possible by the very kind donations of viewers like you. Thank you. If you are in a position to help this channel improve quality and grow, please visit my Patreon page at www.patreon.com/DreamMadeProductions, linked below. War stories are never just about war. They're about the stories nations tell themselves when the world is on fire, about the myths that justify sacrifice, and about the strange bargains people make with power when survival is at stake. Saga of Tanya the Evil takes this tradition and twists it into something uncanny. A tale that looks like a World War I chronicle at first glance, but quickly reveals itself as a meditation on bureaucracy, faith, and the cold logic of modern conflict. The setting is an alternate Europe, familiar enough to invoke the trenches and artillery of our own history, but skewed by the presence of magic and the machinery of empire. Into this world steps Tanya, a figure who embodies contradiction. A child's body paired with the mind of a ruthless strategist. She is not the wide-eyed innocent of most fairy tales, but rather a mirror held up to the systems that prize efficiency over empathy. The story follows Tanya, a young officer in the Empire's military. Despite her appearance as a small blonde child, Tanya quickly proves herself as a formidable presence. Her sharp mind, ruthless efficiency, and commanding presence make her stand out among her peers. This juxtaposition of her innocent looks with her cold, calculating nature is one of the show's most striking contrasts, and it sets the tone for the entire series. What makes Saga of Tanya the Evil unique is the way it balances large-scale war strategy with intimate character focus. The series doesn't just show battles. It explores the machinery of war, the politics behind it, and to some degree the human cost that comes with it. Through Tanya's eyes, we see both the chaos of the front lines and the cold logic of military command. This dual perspectives gives the show a depth that goes beyond typical action-driven anime. What makes the series compelling is not just its battles, though the aerial dogfights and artillery barrages are striking, but the way it frames war as a machine. Soldiers are cogs. Officers are managers, and the battlefield is a ledger where human lives are balanced against strategic objectives. Tanya thrives in this environment, not because she's heroic, but because she understands the rules of the game better than anyone else. Visually and sonically, the anime leans into tension. Muted colors and bleak landscapes echo the photographs of the Great War, while the soundtrack swells with both grandeur and menace. The spectacle is undeniable, but it's never just spectacle. It's a reminder of how easily violence can be dressed up as necessity, even destiny. Beneath the uniforms and explosions lies a deeper question. What happens when faith collides with pragmatism, when belief systems demand obedience, and when individuals try to bend those systems to their own will? Tanya's story is not simply about survival. It's about the uneasy dance between free will and the forces larger than any one person. Season 1 doesn't resolve these questions so much as sharpen them. It introduces us to a world where the line between genius and monstrosity is razor thin, and where the true evil may not be Tanya herself, but the structures that reward her ruthlessness. In that sense, Tanya the Evil is less a fantasy war story and more a parable about the modern world. How empires, institutions, organizations, and even gods demand loyalty, and what it costs to resist, or what it costs to comply. One of the things I noticed about Tanya the Evil was its almost faceless characters. Now don't get me wrong, the soldiers we see in the show have their own personalities, but the show does not dwell on these quirks. Well, aside from the handful of critical characters. The supporting characters, while distinct in a way, also blend together in a kind of a faceless soldier mass. Pull out one and add another, and nothing much changed. I'm not sure if this was the intent of the creators, but it serves as commentary on war. While each soldier may have his own individuality at a personal level, from above, these little details are lost and they blend into the sea of almost uniform soldiers. Like a kid's building blocks. Sure, if you look close enough, you can notice the differences. But only if you look close enough. Outside of these faceless characters, a core cast of main characters that the show goes out of its way to highlight. Tanya, ruthless and brilliant child soldier who was once a cynical salaryman, reincarnated by a mysterious entity claiming to be God, but she dubbed being X. As a major in the Imperial Army, Tanya commands with cold precision and terrifying efficiency, earning the nickname Devil of the Rhine. Her strategic genius and magical powers make her a formidable force, all while she seeks to defy the god who cursed her with this new life. Victoria, Tanya's loyal adjutant. Victoria is gentle, optimistic, and often bewildered by Tanya's harsh methods. Despite the chaos around her, she remains steadfast and supportive, offering a humanizing contrast to Tanya's ruthless demeanor. Being X, the mysterious divine entity who reincarnated Tanya from cold business manager into an orphan turned child soldier, ostensibly to force her into faith in the divine. It manipulates reality to challenge her atheism, often intervening in subtle and cruel ways to push her towards spiritual submission. Being X communicates by stopping time and using the bodies of bystanders or even animals to speak to Tanya, often to her great annoyance. Being X does not interact with the world directly, but does use its power to make small changes, such as forcing Tanya to recite a prayer or have her magical jewel fail. Again, much to her annoyance. Anson, a colonel of the Ligdornia Ante Alliance and Tanya's first major battlefield opponent. He's a brave and principled man who sees the Empire in general, and Tanya in particular, as a monstrous threat to his people and his family. Now, I did not watch Tanya the Evil when it first came out. In fact, I first saw it not long before I started this video. I had no real clue of what it was about other than the memes I had seen online and some of the controversy that was stirred up when the anime first hit the United States. After watching it, I have several feelings on the subject. First, I didn't think it was as politically charged as people were screaming about back in the day. Now, I keep this channel free of politics. Well, real politics. I'll happily discuss the great houses, whether it's, Battletech or Westeros or Dune or whatever. But here, I want to get away from all of the Republicans, Democrats, blah, all that stuff. I want to escape all of that into something that doesn't matter. So, that being said, there was a lot of people talking about how bad the show was because it was glorifying fascism or something. There was also the side that was saying a lot about Tanya and inappropriate dress. Look, if there's any fan service in this show, I didn't really see it. They don't push Tanya as a fan service figure. And as far as her dress, well, this show is more about World War I than it is World War II. A lot of people were trying to say that they were glorifying a certain mustache German of the mid-century. I didn't get that at all. This had some elements of the Second World War in it, such as their use of what they called V1s. It wasn't forefronted like that. This was clearly supposed to be an allegory for World War I, which was before that great evil everyone wants to point at these days. Back then, yeah, the United States and the Alliance did face the Central Powers, and we always have this kind of looking back at our opposition as villains. But I think that was on a whole different level than what we would see during the Second World War. We can largely look at this period as two armies fighting each other without taking a lot out that's been made murky by more modern politics. So, no, I don't see it as glorifying the Nazis or anything like that. I see it as the Japanese liking their snazzy uniforms. As far as Tanya herself, she's not a heroic character. She doesn't glorify anything. In fact, she is an anti-hero, a step away from being an antagonist, though she does soften some as the anime goes on. But she is not someone that the anime holds up to be a role model. If anything, she's a cautionary tale of things going too far. I mean, in episode 1, when she's an adult and a Japanese businessman, her kind of ruthless, cold attitude just straight up gets her killed. Not excusing what the guy did, of course, but it does show that the anime is putting forward that there are consequences to our actions. It's not glorifying her ruthlessness, her calculations. It's telling us what we could slip into if we're not careful. Outside of the controversy, I liked the anime. It was action-packed enough to keep my attention. It had enough politics in it to make it interesting. There were some slow parts in the anime. There were a few times I found myself pulling out my phone and dinking around or speeding up the anime to 1.25 speed to get through some of the talky portions more that could have been cut back some. Where the anime does its best work, at least in my opinion, what grabbed me the most was its normal battlefield sequences. Sure, the mages flying around in the air and shooting at each other and all of the sparkly explosions and interesting things, the fast-paced action. It was a visual feast. But as an amateur historian, seeing some of the World War I quote-unquote battles, I'm using this very, very lightly here, brought to life, to see how things kind of would have been through an anime lens, to me was far more interesting than all of the mages and magic and flying around. This show, more than anything else, made me want a show that was historically based. I think I would have enjoyed this anime a lot more if they left all of the magic out. Literally, they could have transported her off to an alternate version of World War I without all of the magic, and it would have been interesting. I got excited when they did their marine landings and they showed some naval vessels. It was interesting to see their aircraft. It was interesting to see the artillery and the kind of changes that the world was going through in the early parts of World War I. How Napoleonic tactics were, at the very beginning of the war, still kind of being used. And the horrible consequences of that limited thinking really makes me want an almost documentary series in the anime style. You could have it as an anthology show, or each season being its own thing. I mean, you could show things like aerial dogfights, or, massive battles in the way that old films used to, but ways we don't really see anymore unless a ton of CGI is used. You could now do that with animation. I think that would be very interesting to see. A dramatized, historically somewhat accurate anime in the lines of Band of Brothers or Letters from Iwo Jima. This show, at its core, didn't grab me so much for what it was, though I am interested in seeing if a season 2 comes out. It was announced a couple of years ago that there would be a season 2, that it's slated for 2026. We don't have a trailer yet, so I don't know. There is a movie follow-up to this, along with a few OVA shorts. I've seen one of the shorts, The Desert Pasta. It was a fun little episode. It wasn't dubbed, and neither is the film. Yeah, you can call me a filthy casual, but I'm not big on watching films and stuff undubbed. It's just easier and faster for me to watch them dubbed than to try to watch them subtitled. So I'll be checking out the movie if they ever get around to dubbing it. I'll be getting to check out season 2 if it comes out and it gets dubbed, and maybe put a follow-up to video to give my thoughts on that when it came out. I would still suggest that this is a fine anime to watch. It may not be your best first anime. It may not be the best anime to show to a historian, though there are some things in here that is interesting. Very interesting in a way. And don't be so turned off by the controversy. You're not going to start goose-stepping down the hallway because you watch this anime. It has nothing to do with that. It's more a cautionary tale about getting into the mindset of success at all costs, at becoming cold and calculating. Sure, there's a job to do, but is it worth losing all compassion to maximize efficiency? Or is it better to sacrifice just a little bit of efficiency to still present yourself as human, as another person that can at least say, I'm sorry, at the end of this has to be done? Tanya the Evil doesn't get her evil title because she's the mid-century German nightmare. She gets the evil title because she doesn't care. Because she wants what she wants. And while she does grow to respect people and to a degree care about them, she will still gladly sacrifice them to get what she wants. And that's the evil of it. Not some mustache-twirling, snidely whiplash, but the manager who cares more about getting you out of the office than saying that he's sorry that he has to end your career. Hello, this is Adam with Dream Made Productions. Thank you for watching my content. It really means a lot that you have given me the chance to entertain you. If you would like to support the channel, please visit my Patreon at patreon.com/DreamMadeProductions, linked below. Also below is a link for PayPal, or links if you would like to send crypto, if that's more your thing. Please know any amount that you give will be cherished and used to upgrade equipment and improve the channel. You can also help the channel by subscribing, turning on notifications, liking, commenting, and sharing my channel with anyone you think might be interested. Thank you again for watching, and I hope you enjoy the battle reps that are to come.